Well, hello and welcome to Uncut and Unfiltered Cosmetology Insights with Nathan Shaw, where we help aspiring and current beauty professionals master the business and craft of cosmetology so that they can build successful, long lasting careers. Your guide is Nathan Shaw, a dedicated educator and working man's hairdresser who successfully built his schools from his earnings from behind the chair. And now he generously shares his deep industry experience to challenge misconceptions and to teach you the crucial skills needed to manage your career. Whether you're just starting or you're deep into your career, we're going to help you today. And today's topic is really focused on the idea of specializing. And we've talked about it a bit in the context of school and choosing a path or a skill you want to go into, but we're going to cover school as well as what do you do when your specialty starts to go obsolete? That's bad. So, Nathan, thanks for joining us and excited to talk about this topic with you today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So, let's start with I think we'll start with a story. I think this is a great story you were sharing with me pre show about someone who had specialized in something, was really good at it, and then their specialty went away.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's again, I've been in the industry now for 20 plus years. And when I got in the industry, flat irons were kind of brand new, and flat irons for like straightening your hair. Right. And what that really was a signal of it is it was a change. You know, perms had dominated the 80s and even into the early 90s. And I knew a stylist, that she made her career off doing perms and doing amazing perms, like really good with not just like the everyday. You think of perms in the 80s, big hair, teased
Sure,
out. I mean,
sure.
yeah, she could do that, but she also knew how to really use different tools and methods to get different curl patterns. And she was great. Had a whole career built on that. But that grunge era of music and the culture, how it shifted, changed that look in the early to mid 90s to like perms became kind of obsolete for a while.
Uh,
And you know, straight hair was in and color started to become the thing, and different methods of coloring with, highlights with foils first kind of started, not first started then, but that's when they really picked up in popularity compared to like doing highlights through a cap, which was kind of the way it always was done prior. And she
right.
completely shifted, she pivoted out of necessity from perming to becoming like a color expert. And as a result, she prolonged her career. She found a whole new path and passion and really kind of breathed new life into her career.
I mean, that's a massive shift because, and you might get some different clientele too, I'm
Yeah.
assuming with from perms to the other. But I want to use our time today as an encouragement to you listening that this industry has abundant opportunities. Nathan and I were talking before we started to hit record about just the idea that if you want to go do nails only, you can go do nails only. If you want to do colors only, you can do colors only. But you talked about something that was you called stacking skills
hmm
or stacking specialties. Give us an idea what that is and why it would be a benefit to those who are listening today.
Yeah. So, like you said, when we talk about the school, you're kind of a generalist. You learn a little bit of everything. But I knew going into school, I wanted to focus on hair color. The reason I knew is I had a brother that was a stylist that kind of got me, not kind of, he really is the one that encouraged me to get in the industry. And part of that was based on hair color chemistry. He wanted to do a professional hair color line. We took a road trip, you know, back east, met with a manufacturer and a chemist, and we're
Wow.
working. Yeah, we were working on like, hey, let's do this hair color line, and basically we drove, which was kind of crazy, but during the car ride, he gave me like an entire color theory curriculum and lesson. And I've always kind of been a math and science guy in school, and that stuff resonates with me and makes sense. And I just really, really took to that. And so color for me, especially formulation, came rather easily because it's a math formula basically. Use the color wheel, a couple things you have to insert and memorize, but it's literally just a formula. And so being a math science guy made total sense. So I got in with a passion for color, knew I wanted to do it, got proficient at that faster than anything else because it made sense to me, at least the formulation did. Then, of course, I had to learn the skill of how to properly put it in the hair to get the desired result. Um, but that was really where I started. And cutting, I still I'll still always say is one of the most difficult traits to master because hair textures are different. There's so many different hair lengths, hair styles, uh,
Right.
and so learning to really master cutting was tough. And I could do some really basic haircuts, and I kind of did the same thing over and over, just at different lengths. And so a couple years in my career, I was able to educate for it was actually a hair color line, but they paired me up with their artistic director to work hair shows, and he was the one that would come up with all the cuts for every season. He'd do a spring, summer, and a fall, winter collection.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and by working with him, he literally looked at hair as a fabric, like in a way I never had, and I learned so many skills working with him that kind of blew my mind, and it really fast tracked my cutting abilities. And so I literally stacked that skill and became a much more proficient cutter to add to my color skills.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And that was that one person that helped you see things in a different way, right?
absolutely. I mean, he truly was like a master hair cutter, and had a lot of like stars that he did their hair in New York, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, so like, he'd done a lot of like famous people's hair, but like the way he approached it, I'd never really seen or been taught before. So it was eye opening for me. But the way he approached it also, the way it opened my eyes made me understand how cutting worked differently and better to where I became a better hair cutter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about stacking skills, things that would complement each other. You were sharing as well some things you kind of wish you would have gotten better at. But what are things that, I mean, you're going to come out of school and you're generally are most people coming out of school just cutting? Is that the most common, or is it 30 30 30 and there's three different, what's the skill set that most people come out of school with?
I think it depends on the program. Obviously, with cosmetology, which is hair, skin, nails, you get a lot that they may want to do a certain thing, whether it's color, cutting, maybe they want to do, formal hair or, like a lot of like hair for like theater type stuff thing. And then you'll have people that want to do extension specialists. But let's face it, the most common thing people get done with their hair is hair cutting, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much
Right.
everyone gets a haircut. Not everyone gets hair color. Not everyone gets a formal
Sure.
style or works in
Sure.
theater. So cutting's probably going to edge everything just out of the demand, but
Right.
that's kind of how that works.
So if most people are cutting, then the sort of offshoots to that would make sense are colors, right? And
Yep.
what are the other things that are specialties that you can start to styling? What are the other specialties you can, okay, listen, that's great, you can cut. Start to stack these other things because again, the goal is the person is in your chair. And again, you say this because you want to help them, but like, how can that be the most profitable visit possible?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And I think to your point, like cutting's probably in my opinion, again, the most difficult to master. But if you're going to add things, yeah, I mean, it may be as simple as like learning how to style and finish hair well. And what I mean by that is like, can you blow dry a head of hair and actually give it a good style with the blow dryer and a brush? Um, you know, again, I have a couple brothers in the industry, and we've joked, we've got this generation now where, and it's changing, it's always changing, but like for the longest time, everybody just wore the really loose curls and waves. And we would see people and work with stylists sometimes that you realize like they can't cut a shape well in the hair, but they curl everybody's hair. So when the client leaves, it looks good. But if the client doesn't curl their hair, the cut's not great. Does that make
Mm,
sense? And so
yeah.
being able to like have multiple ways that
Yeah.
you can style besides just, hey, let's curl all the mistakes out so they can't see the mistakes, you know? Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
funny. That's like, it's it's like being a bad decorator, so you just turn the lights down.
yeah,
Like, "It
yeah,
looks good in here." "Yeah, can you turn the lights up?" "No, we don't wanna," It's like, "What happens if you straighten the hair?" "No, we don't wanna straighten it." Like, "Let's just curl it." Curls cover all the issues, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So stacking, coloring, styling, right? Those are the things that work alongside of that specialty. And again, it's not all about the money, but also it's like, would you do what you do for free?
yeah.
No. You need
No.
to make a living, and
And
so as long as you can do it profitably and you can help people, make as much as you can. What on a really practical level, Nathan, what are things that make that are the you think are the most profitable in that, like, it doesn't take that long? Or you can have a client come in, and while their color is setting, you can go start on someone else. Is that ever the case?
yeah, I double booked a ton when I got busier in my career. I also, employed an assistant to help make sure I didn't get behind because especially when you're dealing with color and stuff, you don't want to over process someone's hair if you have lightener in their hair.
Yeah. Yeah, whoops. Oh, I forgot Mary was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that being said, at the end of the day, yeah, there's things you can do. I remember a couple women in my brother's salon that they would do like on proms, right? A prom would come up and they would whip out these formal styles that looked great. They were stylish, they weren't like old fashioned looking, they were modern and looked good. And the stuff they could do with bobby pins, a curling iron, and a few tools and some hairspray or whatever, I was blown away and how efficient they were. And they would stack these girls like every half hour.
Wow.
And it was a very high ticket, you know, service to do. Those girls, they know they're gonna get pictures taken at their school dance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's just an example.
Wow.
Or, I've known others that because they're so good at that formal hair, they'll they can charge like a huge day rate to go work off site at someone's wedding and they're gonna do the bride and all the bridesmaids' hair, right? And maybe
Yeah.
some flower girls and so they're gonna charge this rather than just like per person, they might be like, I have a day rate and it's gonna be $2,000 plus travel expenses.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's awesome to have that type of skill.
Yeah, and I also think about, that even that price point of $2,000. I mean, I how many stylists do you know that are starting off in the first 4 or 5 years of their career, they're gonna make $2,000 in a day?
Yeah, starting off, not many, right? And even a lot of seasoned ones don't. So yeah, it's having
Yeah,
that type
that's
of
what I was
skill
gonna
is
say. I
amazing.
wasn't gonna be presumptuous, but even a
Yeah,
seasoned one, a
yeah,
2,000 day is tough. And a lot of times that $2,000 day is not all yours, right? You might make $2,000 might be gross, but net revenue is not gonna be 2,000. And yet it doesn't sound ridiculous at all if you've got, I don't know, 6 bridesmaids and a bride for $2,000 to like, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
that seems reasonable on the biggest day of their life, you know?
yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
and
that's
with that,
exciting.
oh, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut
Oh,
you off
go
there.
ahead.
With that, as I say, I know some that they not only get really good at the formal hair, the formal like hairstyle, they kind of master wedding makeup, right? Because again, there's a certain it's not only the makeup to look good, it's makeup that looks good in photos. And so they'll basically sell the whole package. It's like I'm kind of your beauty advisor for the day and they'll do obviously they usually do a practice run, especially with the bride. The bride wants to make sure that like you don't just show up and do whatever you want to do one day, right? But
Right, right.
and so it's a whole package they can sell and that's kind of an additional skill they stack is like I can do this the formal styling, but I also do great makeup, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like that's, the way of getting into those sort of big dips is, like big dip meaning like a big chunk of cash is that event focus. Um, it's interesting to think about, a bunch of girls getting together to get ready for an event or something like that. And just having that on-site expert would be really, really powerful. And I think there's a lot of parents even that would say, hey, we'll help cover that cost, to bring in someone to help you guys all get ready for the event, or certainly with a wedding, but even with proms and things like that. Um, so as we think about specializing, I want you to speak to someone who is kind of bored. They're like, I go in and I make decent money, but like it's not very interesting to me. But I feel like I'm in my rut.
Yeah.
What encouragement do you have for them if they're like, I don't know, maybe I should try nails. I haven't done nails since school, and I've been out of school for 5 years. You
Yeah.
know?
I think it's just that. Find something else you kind of have a passion for, you think would be different and 'cause sometimes it is it's about changing up your day and your routine to give you to breathe fresh life into your career. For me, it was education, right? I loved educating. Um, and it's a way to like totally shift. You're still in the same industry, but you have this whole new world of opportunity that opens up. And so from like I said, some people will switch and be like, I'm going to start focusing on this. And if you're really booked and really busy, you may have to schedule time out of your day or your schedule to be like, I'm only going to take this type of appointment at that time, at during
Mm,
this portion, and to kind of force yourself into it. Um, it may be going like in my case in educating, I went and educated for some product companies first before, and then eventually we started a school, but I went and educated because it was so rewarding for me at that point to go share some of the knowledge I had learned in my career to try to fast track other stylists so they can hopefully learn it quicker if they're willing to take those lessons and shorten their, that learning curve for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you think about specializing, again, most people are going to be, good at they could do several things, if they're in the beauty profession. Most people are like, I only cut hair and I don't know how to do nails. I don't know. It's like you're going to learn a lot of those things in school. Speak to the success you've seen of people who said, I'm all in on this, I'm all in on that. Um, I think that scares people. I think it scares people to say, are there really that many people who need coloring? Are there really that many people who need, you know, whatever it might be? Have you seen it work? And when have you seen it not work?
So I don't know that I've ever seen it not work, honestly. And
Wow.
I think that's the cool part about it. I've seen it work and I can give multiple examples that, you know, people can witness themselves. I mean, there's nail salons that they only do nails. There's waxing salons where they only do waxing. And they built whole franchises based on literally it's like one type of service over and over. There's a blow dry salons, right? Again, another
Yeah.
franchise. It's like literally all they're doing is blowout styles to give someone a nice blowout, whether it's for they're going to a fancy dinner or maybe they're just going to a business meeting and they want their hair freshly blown out. Um, and so literally it's their business is built on just a specialty of the same thing over and over and over. And when you see that, like, not only is it just it's not just one individual stylist did or one individual cosmetologist, it's like there's an industry out there where there's multiple competing franchise brands that literally built an entire, you know, deca million plus or maybe billion-dollar business off of just one type of service. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That is amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So if someone's stuck, your encouragement is, hey, I'm not going to say it's always going to work, but I've never seen it not work.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, the last question I would have for those who are interested in sort of jumping to or adding a new specialty is um, I just feel like there's so much free education online to just learn about things. Let's just say they've done that. Their Facebook feed or their YouTube feed or their Instagram feed is full of that specialty. What would be your encouragement if it's like, hey, quit dancing with it, do it,
Yeah.
right? What's the next step between I look at all this free content and then like, no, I'm gonna learn this thing and then I'm gonna go charge for it. Where do they need to go after they sort of decide, yep, I'm gonna go pursue that new specialty?
Yeah, I think if they're in that I've been watching a ton online and gotten all the education I can that way. I think it's trying to find a good hands-on course. You may have to travel for it. It's going to be a little bit of investment, but going and doing a hands-on course, finding who you can is the most expert in that field, where they're going to go demonstrate, but then you're going to do it. And they're going to coach you as you do it and give you feedback and like an instant feedback loop. Um, that hands-on training, I feel like for a trade industry like ours is completely invaluable. That's why I think cosmetology school is so important in a trade. It's like we do theory work, there's a book work portion, but most of their day is spent practicing the skills, right?
Right.
So sometimes and I'm not saying they have to just go completely crazy on what the cost is going to be to do that, but try to find a hands-on course to where you can actually get your hands in it, do it, and be getting feedback from someone that's already proficient and expert in that field.
Got it. So, are people able to go back to your schools and take a class on something?
So we do that on occasion. We will do advanced classes. We call them advanced because they're for people that are usually already licensed. And it's like,
Right.
hey, we're gonna have someone come in and we're inviting the when I say the public, I mean the hairdressing public or whatever it is, like the licensed professionals to come back and to participate in those classes. And sometimes they're put on by us or people in our network, or sometimes it's like we'll bring in outsiders, and so that outsider is going to maybe have a charge to it, but they're going to use our facility because we do have classroom spaces where they can do that. um, but it's a great way to, to spend it, maybe it's your Monday off, which is kind of, typical in our industry, and you're going to go in and get a little extra education on that day so that you can
Well,
take
that's a
back
great
what's on.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Take that rest day and go learn something new. That's phenomenal.
It's I think of it, it's a it's an older book now, but I think it's a classic. It's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and one of them is sharpen the saw. It's like you can sit there and try to chop trees down all day, but maybe you should spend the first couple hours sharpening the saw so the work's easier, right? You
Yeah.
you've got to
No one ever
sharpen the saw and
regrets
it's
doing
skill.
that. Yeah.
No,
No one
exactly.
ever regret it's do you love it? No. But do you regret it? Rare I mean, I it's like when I sit down, I just read a good book. I've never been like, "Oh, what a waste of time." You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Um, so I encourage you to take Nathan's advice. He's got years and years and years and years of experience. He's helped educate thousands of people through his schools. So he knows the power of specializing. It's never too late. And the other part is the industry is constantly changing. Trends come and go. And if you see a trend growing, it's okay to go chase that trend.
Yeah.
Because, I think about they say that the only people that got rich, in the gold rush were the people selling the shovels, meaning, if you've got a trend, the trend's gonna go away, but the people who are gonna make money from the trend are the ones who can provide the trend.
Yes.
So be that person, whatever the trend might be. Nathan, as always, thanks for your time and expertise. And folks, I want to remind you if you look in our show notes, wherever you're listening or watching this, you'll find a link to some great videos we put together for you. If you're interested in getting into cosmetology or you just more specifically want help choosing the right school, we've got a great resource for you on that. And as always, Nathan, thanks for your time. Appreciate you.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, Andy.